Good morning. Trying to adjust this for light and whatnot. I don't know. What do you think of my new camera? I can't figure out where the brightness adjustment is. So it's a little dark looking. So I got my coffee and it's almost 8 a.m. in Florida, USA. So today I wanted to say to Susanna Cetus, I have tried at least 10 different times with literally hours of taping, trying to come up with an easy way to explain the USA health care insurance system. Finally, I looked it up on the internet. I threw out all these videos because I'm like, oh no, not that one, no. And then I try another one. Oh my God, it was like my brain was gonna come out of my ears trying to explain our healthcare system. Wow. It's a lot like that viewer that asked me to do videos on antiques and values. I'm like, which category? There's so many. Glass, china, jewelry, paper, furniture, linens. And then there's categories of linens, right? These things I understand, and my head would explode if I tried to, there's no way. And it's that way with health care in the United States. It's the most bizarre, complicated. Leave it to Washington, D.C. Honestly, you want to know what the real problem with our country is, and probably a lot of other people's countries? Corruption. Everyone can be bought. Everyone can be bribed. Are there people that probably have never been bribed in D.C.? I honestly doubt it. Are there any that actually didn't take the bribe? I wonder. But how do you explain our healthcare system? Holy moly. First, you have the independent companies like Allstate and United that I have. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's State Farm, there's Farmers, there's so many different insurance companies, and then of course so many insurance types. You can insure the stuff in your apartment just in case you have a fire. I don't think I have enough, well, I don't think I have enough worth insuring, but I really don't have the money to replace it either. So there's a thought. Call up State Farm. That's my insurance company currently, though my daughter-in-law is looking for cheaper car insurance. Good luck. This is Florida. The right to kill you in a car state. So, healthcare. Years ago, when we were a young family, we bought our first health care insurance. We kept it for about a year. I got some sort of procedure I needed at the time done. And then we just kind of talked about it and said, what's the point? Let's just drop it. And we did. We lived most of our lives without healthcare insurance and pretty much without healthcare. The kids went to the dentist and, I went to the chiropractor a lot because of my back. It was bad then, but worse now. And after car accidents, it was really, really bad. Anyway, when Dennis took ill, I used up a lot of our own money trying to find the answers. I didn't know that as the spouse of a sick person, I actually had a right to keep about $120,000, so we didn't even have that. Well, not liquid anyway. And I did eventually apply for Medicaid for my late husband. Medicaid is federal, which means the government, Washington, D.C., but it is also run by each individual state. And each state runs it differently. And Medicaid is a welfare system. You have to be at a certain income threshold. You can only have so many assets. That means like one car only. No campers, no boats. You'd have to liquidate all that and spend it all down if you want Medicaid. And Medicaid isn't always widely accepted by doctors. The hospitals have to, it's law, but doctors can pick and choose. And specialists, it's very hard to get into a specialist with Medicaid, as I would learn when I became Dennis's caregiver. I qualified for Medicaid. It's a very odd system, but that's how it is in Florida. So I had to wait 8 months to see an orthopedic doctor. And when I finally got to see him, he said, lose weight. He never even told me that my spine had fallen apart. He never told me that there were parts missing, that there were parts that elongated and there were deformities. So I waited 8 months for what? I don't know. Then I started seeing other doctors, and I started to get a better picture. It was actually my chiropractor who looked at the MRI report and said, this is dangerously close to your spinal cord, Nikki. What did he say about that? He said, lose weight. My chiropractor said, Nikki, I don't care if you lost 100 pounds right now, right here. It's not going to change this. And that's the truth, because 3 or 4 other doctors would agree with that. Oh, what you get with Medicaid, it ain't purty. So, yeah, that's the welfare system. A lot of things changed when I turned 65. When you turn 65 in the USA, if you do not have private insurance that your job is covering you for, you have to apply for Medicare. They don't want a burden on the system, so you have to apply for Medicare. And some people have to pay for it. Most people, I think, pay for Medicare from $174 a month upwards, depending on how much income and just a host of things I don't really understand. So young people, through their jobs, get their health insurance, and they have to pay for it, of course. It's expensive. I think my daughter is paying $350 a month for hers, and then you have deductibles. You have to spend so much before it kicks in. I think hers is like $2,000 or something like that, and then, then she can start going for more tests or whatever she needs, because it's all covered at that point. She's just starting a new job. I think yesterday she started her new job, and so that'll mean having to switch. She gets about 30 days with her old company and gets to keep that insurance, and then it switches over to the new company, and then she'll be under that umbrella. But Medicare is a whole different ball game. So we get what you call a pension. From anywhere, from age 62 is the earliest right now that you can retire and start getting Social Security money. We've been paying in all our lives. And then working years, In my case, I didn't claim any income for many, many years. I was my husband's laborer, and I just worked along beside him and raised the children and, kept whatever home we had at the time. Our home was mostly on the road for 14 years. Yeah. We just lived out of vehicles. We had campers here and there, little old junky ones. And back then, a hotel was like Motel 6. The first time we ever saw a Motel 6, a big chain, it was $6 a night. And children were free, and we had 3 of them. You could live cheaper in a motel, than you could in an apartment. So that's kind of what we did. And we'd camp all summer long. But this is about health insurance. And I practiced a lot of natural medicine. I learned through a book that I got from Mother Earth News. Yeah, I was kind of in the hippie era still, even though it was the 80s. I got a book by Dr. Holmquist. He has a video and a book, but because I had so much experience having my neck and back cracked all the time, I remember how the chiropractor would do it. So I read his book and I started adjusting my own family, and I was really good at it. Should have went to school. And I learned herbology and homeopathy, and I practiced that quite a bit, and I was very successful. I helped my little Denny was like 6 months old when he had his first asthma attack and ended up in the hospital. And then around the age of 3, when he was on 2 very dangerous medicines, and I saw them on the 11 o'clock news, I said, that's it. I called his doctor. I said, did you see the news? Yes. I said, 1 medicine killed 1 dose, killed an adult. I said, you're giving my son both of those medicines every half hour. My son couldn't even talk anymore. No, he couldn't talk. He stopped talking. He'd open his mouth and go. It was horrible. It was horrible, and I stopped it right then and there, and I said, I'm going to learn the old ways, and I did. But this is still supposed to be about health insurance, but I think this one's coming out much better than the original 20. Okay, so let's go back now. So, again, we have the independent private insurance sector. Then we have the government that does the welfare. We also have the government that does the old people insurance. So you can retire at 62, but depending on your birth year, you have so many years in which it's full retirement. I only got 83.4% of my husband's pension because I was 63 and not 66 and 8 months. That would have been my full retirement age. His was younger, but he was on disability, and that's a whole nother insurance ball game, also run by the Social Security Administration. So after 2 years of him, no, actually, he was only 1 year, got disability, and then they were about to put him on Medicare, and they were going to charge us $264 a month just for his insurance, and we were only making $1,900 a month. I remember I completely panicked. I said, oh my God. I says, look, we're going to have to get a divorce on paper because our income is $26 over the limit for QMB, and now they're going to charge you $264. I said, that's our grocery money. Back then, you actually could feed 2 people for $300 a month. Would you believe that? We're talking about 2020, 2021. Yeah, because he would take his life in, July of 2021. And they were going to start charging us in August. He beat the clock. Bless his heart. Okay, so So we were forced to take Medicare. Medicaid would then be his secondary instead of his primary insurance. And that's how Medicare works. Medicare, I know a little better about because I'm in the throes of it. And so if you're paying X amount for Part A, I think it is, you pay for, no, Part B. I think Part A can be free for some and has to cost others. It's very complicated. Now if you're an illegal alien, you can get all of this for free. You don't have to pay anything. So that's kind of how it works. I mean, and then in Florida, see, each state is different with Medicare too, just much like the welfare system, Medicaid, in that, what was I saying? Each state is different. When I lived in Maine, it was all covered under the state, Maine Care, and they took care of everything. That was it. I get to Florida, and now you have to choose an independent company for your Medicaid even. There's Sunshine, and there's WellCare, and there's, of course, Simply. There's so many companies. It's very confusing, and none of them tell you anything specific. They tell you, they give you a big chart, and they show you what they generally cover, like equine therapy. That was the weirdest one. Okay, you can I guess get some sort of emotional support from a horse. I'm sure it works, kind of like dance therapy. Yeah. You know I can't dance, you know I can't dance. So what am I trying to say? It's complicated, it's confusing, and they don't give you enough information here in Florida. Like, for instance, when Dennis got his Medicaid and I became his caregiver, I didn't know that other companies paid more than what I was getting. I was getting like $8 an hour or something like that. And then I decided to switch because it was Humana, and they're the devil, okay? And so maybe you have Humana under Medicare, but don't get it under Medicaid. Just advice to those Americans who might want to know. So Humana was paying me $8 an hour, and I switched it to Simply, who paid me $13 an hour. That's a big jump. But see, I didn't know that only until I switched. And there might be another company. I don't even know what United would pay. Don't know. But that's pretty much the incident. And I'm sweating awful because I had to shut the AC off so that you could hear me. Woo! And now it's starting to heat up. Of course, I do have my heating pad on behind me. But I want you to know that currently I'm really well taken care of in the medical field. Medicare is such a different ball game than Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is my secondary, and right now it was just under Florida Medicaid that picks up the other 20% that Medicare will not pay. And they gave me Simply back because that's what I had last. I'm allowed to change that, and I'll probably look into it more. But it's confusing me. I'm more confused now than I ever was. I'm like, wait a minute. Why did they, I kept my gold card. You have to keep that Florida Medicaid card. But now I have a private company covering the Medicaid expenses, which is going to make referrals somewhat hellish. Yeah. I don't know how it works, and I'm going away for 10 days, and then I don't know if I'm going to share that with you, what I'm doing, where I'm going, etc. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Sometimes, you just need to get away from the camera, but we'll see, because the person I'm going to see loves taking videos. So you may be getting some travel videos, and we'll see what she wants to do. And yeah, I hope this helps you understand a little bit. Any of you Brit friends that watch my videos and wonder, what is she talking about? It's very, very complicated in the United States. I wish they'd figure it out because, I mean, we're like, what is it? Like almost 40 trillion in debt, or did we exceed that now? You know, you know what an easy solution to the national debt would be? Printing our own interest-free money. That would end all of this and send the banksters packing. The banksters. Yeah. And then we all could have health care, couldn't we? Yeah. But like I said, the biggest problem with countries and governments is corruption. They can be paid off. They can be bribed. They can be promised all sorts of things. And these so-called politicians, I'm about as fed up with the federal system as I am the insurance industry. But we go on, and hopefully one day there'll be a giant earthquake and DC will just fall right into it. If you live in DC, I'm terribly sorry, but maybe you could take a vacation just before it happens. Like we'd know, right? I don't know. One can hope. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye.